We're gonna go in to the animation portion, and I want to talk about how horror could take advantage of animation. And essentially, animation can make anything. Anything you think of, someone could draw it and make it. And horror could take advantage of that aspect of animation. There aren't many um, horror animated shows or movies, and there, as far as I know, aren't any good ones. There are some shows that are kind of horror-y, like Tokyo Ghoul, that's good, but that's not really horror. It's more of a drama with a tiny bit of action. Um, but there aren't many really good horror animated series. Junji Ito, a famous horror manga author, he had his he makes short stories, and he had a collection of his short stories animated into an animated series called the Junji Ito Collection, which was underwhelming. I haven't read any of his work. Amir has read one of his miniseries. Yeah, called Uzumaki, and I haven't read any of them. I haven't watched any of them. I just watched a couple videos on it so that I could actually have things to talk about when it comes to Junji Ito, because it intrigues me, but I'm not sure if I'm ever really going to read it. But if they were to make a really good animated series, I would probably watch it. Essentially, the way he goes about making horror is taking something ordinary that you see every day and making it unnerving and creepy, and also not explaining it like at all, like not giving an explanation as to why this thing exists or how to destroy it. Most oftentimes, the story ends with the people losing. Like, there is no like final girl, like in like slashers where that one girl always escapes. Nope. With Junji Ito, everybody dies almost all the time. And he always keeps it short and sweet. He doesn't drag it on forever. Like I said, they're short stories, so they're either usually a chapter or two, or they're miniseries, so they're like a volume or two. So he makes sure that he just makes it creepy. You don't understand what's going on, like, at all. All you know is that it's horrifying and that there's no way out. And apparently it didn't translate. It's not that it didn't translate well to animation, it just wasn't animated by a studio that could truly adapt his work to the screen. And I feel like if someone at a more talented studio, or maybe the studio was really good, I'm not sure what studio it was, they just didn't have enough time. But with more money, time, and talent, they could probably make a really good, like, another short like collection series based off of his books and his short stories. A really good horror-oriented animated series I would like is based off a video game, and that's Metroid. This is gonna bring us into Aliens a bit, because Metroid is heavily inspired by the Alien franchise. Literally, the Samus, the main character of Metroid, her arch nemesis is like a big pterodactyl dragon-looking thing that actually he kind of looks like a xenomorph. He has an elongated head and he has a sharp tail. His name is Ridley, which is clearly his name. Basically, he's named after the director of the first Alien movie, Ridley Scott. And also the setting that she goes to pretty much every game, she goes to a spaceship. It's infected by aliens called Metroids, like its title, and they go and they start infecting people and making more Metroids and getting stronger, much like the aliens in the Alien franchise. And then at the end of every game, when she's escaping, she has to blow up the ship and have to escape before the timer goes off, like in all the Alien movies. I'm gonna spoil the first Alien movie, by the way, and the second one, which the second movie, for people who don't know, is called Aliens. They literally just add an S. The second movie, they just add an S and it's a sequel rather than like a 2 or something like that. But I think that Metroid would make a fantastic animated series. Specifically, I really like the way, like, I don't know if there's a name for it, but the way old anime looks. Like, that kind of like, it's due to the technology limitations that they look kind of like grainy, and like
I know what you mean.
And the colors are less saturated. You know what I mean? I like the way that looks, even though if they had the choice, they probably wouldn't have had it that way. it was just because of the limitations of their of technology at the time, like specifically Cowboy Bebop. Well, the animation in general in Cowboy Bebop is just amazing because they put a lot of hard work into it, but also just that, like I said, that style of, you know, older like 80s and 90s anime. I just like the way it looks. And if Metroid was animated like that, I think it could make a really good series. For the most part, it could just be just like Aliens. She goes with a group of people to a ship to hunt these Metroids. The Metroids, you know, end up. I don't want her to start with her suit. Also, I want her to get the suit like halfway through, or like 2/3 of the way through. I don't want her to start with her suit. I want her to start just with a gun and like some armor, just zero suit Samus, and then eventually she gets her suit, and that's what gives her the edge to escape and do what she needs to do, and then run out before the what is it called, the ship explodes. That's how I feel about animation and horror. You've been quiet.
I have been. I don't really have much to say on the topic. I'm also half asleep right now.
I took a nap before this because otherwise I would have been dead tired.
I didn't have the opportunity to take a nap before this, but I also have not had any coffee, so like I'm kind of dead right now. But this is breaking away from horror and leaning more into adaptation, because you started talking about adaptation, so it's perfect for housekeeping, so that it doesn't look like we're behind on this. Because just today, so not the day that you're going to see this, I don't know how long it takes you to edit this and post it, but not the day that you're going to see this, but the day that this was recorded, so October 27th, 2020, it was announced that Netflix is doing a live-action adaptation of Assassin's Creed, and they're doing multiple shows after the adaptation of Assassin's Creed in both animation style and anime style. Not sure how that's going to work, but yeah. So, you just turned on the light? I was very confused for a second. But so yeah, no, that's a thing, and I'm really excited about that. I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan.
I actually didn't know that. That sounds. I think that a TV format is the best place for Assassin's Creed, specifically because it's very like episodic in the way that the story's told, and I feel like every season or every 2 seasons could be a new assassin if they decide to do that. If they decide to follow the story exactly, they don't have to. They could honestly focus on like away from the Abstergo part, and you could just go with the Templars and Assassins in the olden days, rather than anything having to do with the what's that machine called? I can't remember.
Animus.
The Animus, yeah. So they could just do without the Animus and Desmond and just go straight into the Assassins and versus the Templars, and with like the first time period with Altair or whichever assassins they choose to use, they could make one up and just do original assassin.
But that's not the only video game adaptation they're doing. Oh, don't keep in mind, they're also doing an animation adaptation of Assassin's Creed and an anime adaptation of Assassin's Creed. They made sure in the article to separate and differentiate between the two. I don't know what the difference is that they're going to be going for with that, but they made sure to separate with that in the article.
I feel like that might mean that one could potentially be 3D and one is 2D. Because because I feel like the style, like anime, first off, I just want to start off, I was actually thinking about this earlier. For me, what makes something an anime is not just the art style. Whenever Netflix says something is an anime, they just mean the art style is like a Japanese anime art style.
Right.
I think that Assassin's Creed would work better in that type of art style, rather than like I feel like most American people, when they make shows like this, they tend to, or like not just American, but even Western in general, European American or whatever, they make them more like in an anime-ish style, because that's the style that best suits stuff that like Devil May Cry or Assassin's Creed or Castlevania, where the characters look like regular people, because you don't want it to be too realistic, because because that would be hard as hell to animate. But you want it to be simple enough, yet still looks like it could be a regular person. It's like Young Justice. The style of Young Justice is a bit like anime-ish. Like, if that's what they mean, like by cartoon, they mean something like Young Justice, where it's like not necessarily 100% on the anime side, but somewhat in between, like American animated series and anime. That's probably what they mean. But either way, it's kind of weird.
I am just interested to see what they do, and I'm excited because I love Assassin's Creed. So,
Yeah.
But continuing with the Netflix adaptation of video games, Castlevania Season 4 is dropping.
Wait, when?
I don't know when.
Oh, I was about to say, I thought they like announced the date or something. I was gonna say, wait, what?
No. They're also doing Resident Evil, but not just as were they doing it as a live action movie as well? Yes, we talked about that.
They're doing a live action TV series about Wesker's children, and they're also doing an animated series about Claire.
That's what I was going to talk about.
The Claire and Leon one is called, I can't remember. We talked about it in the last episode.
We did. I don't remember what it was called.
I'll look it up. But